This NFL Draft Props edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up on Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN to get up to $1,000 in bonus credits.
Bruh.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan, Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Call me market moving Kramer.
Oh
please.
yes, we'll get to that. Kramer moving some NFL draft props.
Oh, big time.
Joining us in studio, Matt McGuckin from Dappz Sports. Matt, thanks for hopping on the show, man. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to be here. That intro just got me psyched.
Yes. If you and Matt, you're probably of a similar age, maybe a few years younger, but the NFL Primetime song is it's just in my head. I mean, Boomer and TJ, that's, back in the day, you couldn't get all the games. You had to watch Chris Berman break down the games, and just the energy of the Primetime music is just awesome.
And you were also excited for Boomer to break down.
Oh yes,
right,
100%.
Because it was the best highlight.
Yeah,
and that's back when highlights were truly great.
Well, you didn't.
Highlights aren't great anymore.
If you tried to explain to a young person the idea that you watch highlights of games, you have no idea. You didn't have the internet. You had no idea whether this team won or lost. It was fucking electric. Like, I remember just as a kid going, I don't know if the Cowboys won. I have to watch NFL Primetime and then see them lose. It was amazing. So yeah, it was a different time.
It was a different time. And also that brown statistic screen at the end of the highlights.
Oh,
like,
yes.
I was so looking forward to that screen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys remember when they actually changed it to like, oh, now it's in a lower third.
Yeah.
And there is no screen anymore. And I remember being like angry, like, why is my statistic screen being deleted from SportsCenter? This is insane. And
it was the same wiring in your brain of like Tecmo Super Bowl. When the game ended, you had that recap, you had that box score, you needed that frame.
I mean, again, our eyes are trained. Very much our eyes are trained to do stuff. And I mean, we before the show, we were discussing our God's Eye 8 TV layout, and like the stuff that it's done to me just in terms of watching and needing stuff to show up in certain, like I'm actually now at a point where I know that if the day is long and I need a horse race to bet on, I just turn and look down in the bottom right corner. So I'm with you with the highlights. Yeah. I would say also the picks section when Boomer used to make the ATS picks
it
with
was
the
great.
little diamond or the
so
triangle.
He would give out the score that he would predict, but then there would be a triangle next to the team that was covering the spread. It was
like,
when I figured that out, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, okay, 16-3, but then 16-13, but the team who had 13 had the triangle, and then I finally figured it out. It was like, oh well, they were catching 4.5 points, and Boomer was giving you a little inside info before ESPN as a sports book. It's crazy kind of how far things have come in that direction. But yeah, Matt, thanks for hopping on. And really cool. We had a mutual friend. We got to check out your setup. If people aren't familiar, you started the company Dappz Sports. So give us a little bit of the backstory. It's a really cool. How would you describe the company?
Well, they tell me how to describe the company a certain way, and I haven't really got that down yet. The true gritty sports version of it is, listen, my grandfather was a scout for the New York Jets growing up. Oh, wow. So I grew up going to Giant Stadium. I grew up around Hofstra. I was a huge Wayne Corbett, Keyshawn Johnson fan.
Oh, yes.
I'm watching Vinny Testaverde, right? Like Shane Falco.
Those are the halcyon days of being a Jets fan.
Yeah. And
respect.
and by the way, at the end of the 90s, the Jets were playing the Broncos in the AFC Championship. So they were actually relevant. And you were like, wow, my team could potentially be in the Super Bowl. Like, it was cool to be a Jets fan. And then
Fireman Ed.
I mean, I remember when the Jets were having a moment, even later on, when Mangini made a cameo in The Sopranos.
Oh yeah,
where Tony Soprano's like, "Hey, that's Mangenius." That was like a later, different version of the Jets, but yes,
dude,
not the prime.
Mangenius was printed on the Post and Newsday and every New York paper. So
they were just dying for someone to be that guy.
And listen, we had our two moments where the Bill Parcells era and then the Rex Ryan era, which were the Jets went, people forget about this. The Jets went to back-to-back AFC championships.
Yeah.
They lost to
Mark Sanchez.
They lost with Mark Sanchez, which is insane, by the way.
Yes.
Because Mark Sanchez.
Rex Ryan's probably underrated in the grand scheme of things.
And he gave us the let's eat a damn snack. Greatest moment.
Let's go get a snack.
Yeah. There was the foot thing. He's had some moments.
Also great. Also great. The white teeth on TV. That's been pretty
crazy.
Awesome.
But his legacy's a little all over the place, but man, that run of getting the AFC championships with Mark Sanchez probably deserves more credit than he gets.
And I know we're getting off track from the actual question here, but I do need to tell a story that you guys are going to love. The following year, we lose to the Steelers in the AFC championship. I'm at school in Buffalo, New York. It's a 3-hour drive to Three River Stadium, I believe was the name of it before.
In Pittsburgh. Yeah.
And it's either that or Heinz Field. Somebody's going to have to fact check me on that one. Anyway, I drive in the cold 3 hours to watch the AFC championship game. It's me and my buddy who's a Cowboys fan, but grew up with him. So he's just coming along for the ride, right? Now, at the time, it is 6 degrees in Pittsburgh, right? For this game. Jets get mopped. They're down like 24-3 at halftime, whatever the score was. So there's 2 Jets fans, though, like 2 rows ahead of me in full Jets gear that everybody in the stadium can see them. Right. My buddy, as we walk into the stadium, by the way, drops a full beer into my boot. So I basically have hypothermia the entire game. The second we walked in, there's a guy, this heckler for the Steelers, because the Steelers are just mopping us and they're so excited, waving their terrible towels.
Oh, they love it.
And this guy, this Jets fan, two rows ahead of us, I guess he looks like George Costanza from Seinfeld. Yeah. This guy, for 4 straight quarters, Costanza, I can't stand ya. Every time the Steelers did anything good, this guy was saying, Costanza, can't stand ya. And that will be forever ingrained in my head. So, needless to say, that was like the last time the Jets were relevant. They haven't made the playoffs in 14 years. They are notorious for drafting the wrong guy and not having a quarterback. I mean, we're talking about drafting Ken O'Brien over Dan Marino.
Right? That's tough.
So, and now, by the way, the modern version of that is drafting Sam Darnold over Josh Allen.
Oh, that's
also Sam Darnold had a decent run with the Vikings, but Kramer and I are both skeptical of Sam Darnold. I know I made some money late in the season on Sam Darnold.
It's in the division too. That makes it even worse.
I mean, listen, I root for Sam Darnold because I think the Jets are notorious for ruining careers, right? Like Geno Smith, by the way, goes to Seattle and now he's a Pro Bowl quarterback, right? Wow. I think there's a common denominator.
Yeah, Woody's got to look in the mirror, I think.
He got the worst rated owner by whatever vote that was. I didn't need the vote. I already knew that. You know what I mean?
But imagine like getting Fs like that. That's a statement.
Well, and
you think he cares?
It seems like he's becoming.
He fired a bunch of people afterwards.
It's tough. As someone who got to watch the Washington Redskins Commanders football team have a horrible owner, it's. As a rival, it's great because if you have a bad owner, you can't escape it. They have to sell the team, but they're not in any rush. If you have a bad quarterback or a bad coach, they fire him, they bring him new. But if you have bad ownership, like the Cowboys have had, it doesn't go anywhere.
The New York ownership is bad, both sides, because it doesn't matter what the team does.
Well,
they're still rich as
money,
fuck, and they're still gonna gallivant about town and not give a shit. Unfortunately,
it's just insane though, because New York is a sports town and it's okay to go on a run for a bad couple of years, but the Jets and Giants and really, the Giants 2007, 2011, even late 90s, like Kurt Warner came to town, like they were decent. They're always in the playoff mix.
They've had some moments.
It's just, you are a franchise that has, what do you guys got? 4 or 5 championships?
5.
So how do you not put together a playoff team for 10 years? How do you not give your fan base something to watch? New York fans are diehard. Like they care.
Yeah, I mean, look at
the Knicks. Like,
the Knicks are a great example.
It's like
the Knicks, the Mets, the Jets. I mean, these are. By the way, I was born in 1988. I have never seen a championship from my 4 major sports. I'm an Islanders fan as well.
Oh no,
man.
they're
you had to throw in the Islanders too.
Well, I mean, growing up in the same area, there was the Mets, Jets, Nets thing was just the way. Like we in school, that was how you spelled loser.
For sure. Thank God I'm not a Nets fan.
Yeah, and that was
you avoided that one.
Well, the Knicks aren't much better. I mean, as a Knicks fan, I don't know if it's much better.
No.
At least the Nets had some success there when we were younger. But man,
well, the Jason Kidd days, they were
fun.
Yeah, they were fun. And the Knicks have been trash. They got Carmelo Anthony. They had their little run, their moment in time, but they were never a legitimate.
No, Linsanity was the best thing that's happened since they cut away from the championship when OJ was driving around on the 405. Like, those are the 2 moments. Honestly, my most memorable Knicks fan moment is watching the finals and them cutting away, and me wondering why for the entire 3rd quarter I'm watching OJ drive around the 405. That's a crazy greatest memory for a fucking sports franchise. That's historic.
It is.
Yeah.
They play in the Mecca. They literally call the home court for the Knicks the Mecca. Haven't won shit.
Which is insane.
Years. Yeah,
which is insane that
everyone wants to play good there. Like it's so
Madison
weird.
Square Garden is awesome. So we're getting a little sidetracked by your company, Dappz Sports.
Back to Dappz Sports, guys. So listen,
you're a passionate Jets fan.
The way that Dappz Sports begins is I'm a huge football fan, and I'm looking for this side hustle pre-COVID, and I start opening. Actually, Gary V is talking about how sports cards are making a comeback. Okay,
so this is pre-COVID.
This is pre-COVID.
Because on my radar, I knew about sports cards having to come back in COVID, but I didn't realize there was a little window even pre-COVID.
Yeah, so the market starts to like bubble up, and then COVID is like the pop.
Yeah,
right during COVID. So it starts to bubble up, and I'm buying and selling and trading cards pre-COVID, and I'm like, I just bought this Kawhi Leonard card for $1,000, and it's 5,000 6 months later. Like, what is going on, right? So I'm like, I got to sell this. I got to sell this. And I'm just making these investments, but they're short term, and I'm making a good amount of cash. And a couple of guys, my mentor from New York, they're like, "Oh, that's great. Like, this is gonna burst. Like, this is you're not just gonna keep buying cards and making money. Like, that's not gonna happen." So that really hit me hard. And then I saw this guy online, and he's doing something called breaking, and he's ripping packs open. And I do a little bit of math, and I'm thinking, this guy's doing 20 grand in revenue from his house. Like,
it's crazy.
I'll be happy if I do 5.
Yeah.
Right. So my first goal was, hey, let me see if I can make 50 or $100 a night doing this.
Yeah.
And in a couple of weeks, I was doing it. A couple months later, I'm making $1,000 a night. A couple months after that, I do $70,000 in revenue in my bedroom, opening
crazy.
up
kitty.
Yeah. So opening up sports cards. And I'm like, you know what? I should probably take this seriously. And I basically live streamed for 3 straight years, 8 to 12 hours a night, hiring my brother, hiring my sister, shipping my mom out from Florida. And I'm like running out of family members.
Open up packs. We gotta feed this family.
I'm like, sleeve all these cards, Mom said, go to the post office. Right. So eventually I have no more family members, and I'm like, you know what? I got to start hiring more people. I find a spot on Melrose Avenue in LA. I open up a little shop. The intention is to open a physical card shop, but we're just so successful with every new shop we open on, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or whatnot, or now Fanatics Live exists. And I kind of fall into this live shopping space. I don't know if you've heard of the term live shopping, but it's really blowing up online, and it's kind of the future of it's the future of the way that people are going to purchase online, whether it's the hats we're wearing, or sports merchandise, or whatever.
Click, like you're already there.
Sense.
You boom, you're done.
It's entertainment mixed with e-commerce, effectively, and a little bit of education too. So like right now, we're educating people who are watching the stream on live shopping, right, or on gambling, or on picks, whatever it is, right. And that's why people watch. So I slowly became an expert at live shopping, and now there's brands that reach out to Dappz Sports to help them launch their live shopping channels. So it's been an exponential growth over the last 5 years. I wouldn't be doing anything else. And all I want to do is what you guys do, though, is talk about sports.
Bullshit about
right?
sports. Well, yeah. So real quick, the basic idea of a break is you have like a whole pack of, or a whole bunch of cards. you get people to sign up like, hey, I'll put it like, let's say you buy a case of cards for $3,000 and then you charge $100 per team, 32 teams.
This is like you trying to pronounce the Russian name.
No, I
can hop in whenever you're ready.
Yeah, you take it away. But the idea is people buy in on the teams, and then whatever you open up the break and you get those teams. So it's kind of similar to a little gambling, right?
It's definitely has the same trigger in your brain that gets excited when you get that rush, that adrenaline rush when you gamble on sports. Very similar to opening packs of cards. Sports card breaks. Breaking is just a slang for breaking boxes of cards open, right? So what our company does is we curate and we make a nice cool mix of 10 boxes of sports cards. We pull them all together, and the best analogy I can give is if you've ever had a seafood soup from a restaurant. There's some lobster, there's some scallops, there's some noodles, right? Like you're taking different ingredients.
Yeah.
That's what I do every night. And I sell teams to fans. Everybody, you're a Giants fan, you're an Eagles fan, I'm a Jets fan. Those are the teams that you're most likely going to purchase. Unless you believe you're a professional scout, which a lot of people I'm sure who are watching the show believe they are as well. And you think, oh, I know that rookie. I've scouted him since he was in college. I know he's going to be good. You might know this year that Jackson Dart is significantly better than Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, right? And if you think that, then when his rookie card comes out, you are going to purchase the team that he is a rookie on, right? So if he gets drafted by the Raiders, let's say, Jackson Dart, you're going to buy the Raiders in our break, right? And that the Raiders could be $100.
You hope you get the Jackson Dart rookie card because then you're cashing in big. What and now I was like poking around on TikTok. I know you guys are huge over there, and I saw that someone put out a video of like some of the worst sports card investments. One was someone bought a Trey Lance rookie card for like $200,000. Who are some of your big wins? Like, have you ever maybe bought a card or bought another break where you got like some great card at a low value, or maybe you had a card and that player sucked? Like, what are some of the pros and some big wins, big losses in the card game? Because I'm sure the gamblers will relate.
Absolutely. And listen, here's the thing about gambling on sports, which by the way, I love to do as well.
Let's go.
Just as a caveat, if you bet on the Jets money line and they lose, right?
Yeah.
You bet $100.
$100 is gone.
The $100 is gone.
Never
right?
gonna see it.
If you put $100 on the Jets in a break, right, and you hit a Sam Darnold rookie card, maybe he sucked on the Jets, but 3 years later, he's great on the Vikings.
Don't throw it out.
And now you just got half your money back, which will never happen when you're gambling and you lose.
You sound like my wife explaining why buying a handbag is better than betting on the Wisconsin Badgers.
And when Matt used this example when I first met you, I go, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of when I had a Nick Foles jersey and fucking Chip Kelly traded him to the St. Louis Rams. And I was super pissed off and I donated my Nick Foles jersey to Salvation Army.
That's awesome.
And my wife goes, oh yeah, someone got a great deal. And my wife goes, why would you do that, Sean? You never know. One day Nick Foles could be back on the Eagles. You never know. I go, I appreciate it, but there in no way. Maybe if he comes back to the team, he's some backup, but Nick Foles there will never be a moment in my life where I want to wear a Nick Foles Eagles jersey again. And, the C's part, Nick Foles comes back, Carson Wentz goes down, they win the Super Bowl. So to your point, even if you get a guy's card that you think sucks, it's the NFL. You never know what could happen. He might end up, starting slow and then having a great career, and then the card skyrockets in value.
Correct. And I mean, something as stupid as, I don't know if you guys remember when Mike White had like a 2 or 3 moment for the Jets too. His cards were only 50 cents. They went up to $30.
That's
so
crazy.
Like, if you're the weird guy who collects Mike White,
so you're day trading now.
You just 60x'd your money by selling those cards on eBay. And that's the cool little caveat to, gambling versus sports cards.
Well, and that's good translation right there, Sean. So what's that, like a 6-leg parlay, 7-leg parlay?
Yeah, I mean that's
like the audience likes a football translation.
That's like getting back to the NFL draft props. That's like when I hit Raiders to draft a tight end in the first round.
Who could forget?
I didn't forget it. That was a crazy hit. Now I got super lucky because the Falcons drafted Michael Penix. No one saw that coming. I don't even the Falcons drafted quarterback first last year. Must have been like 75-80-1. So yeah, I'm sure there's
everyone's forgotten too. It's so funny. Everyone's like, lock up this pick.
It's different. It's going to be all chalky favorites. But then there's always a bunch of surprises. But yeah, do you have any personal stories of something going up in value that you held on to, or a card, or like a player that you now have to root for because you have his card? I can see myself getting sucked into some of those situations.
Yeah. So this is a situation where we'll go back to COVID, and it's Zion's rookie year, and Zion cards had ballooned to an insane price. Luka cards had ballooned to an insane price.
Great puns there, by the way.
For sure.
Leveraging the word balloon for Zion and Luka.
Well, yeah, for sure. Those guys are large. So Zion is at $800, and now Luka's at $800. And I've been watching these prices, and I'm like, Luka cannot go up any further. He's at his max. Now, at the time, though, Zion was in the 8 spot, and the Lakers were in the 1 spot. And I'm like, oh my God, like Zion's going to play LeBron in the playoffs. And if this happens, his card price is going up.
Yeah.
So I put like $5,000 into these Zion cards. What happens? The Pelicans coach benches Zion. They miss the playoffs, and the card goes. The card. Oh no! The card basically goes to like $200 over the next 12 months.
Oh no!
So and I'm like, oh, it's 600. I'm holding. Diamond hands.
Huddle.
Like, wrong. Right. So that's an example of you going from 5K to 1K or 2K or whatever it was. Now Luka hit that huge shot over Kawhi. I don't know if you remember this in COVID. It was a big moment in game 2, and everyone wouldn't shut up about Luka. His $800 card went to $2,100, and this was in like a 3-week span. So if I had kind of just listened to my gut, like I would have 3x my money in a month if I sold. Right? I probably would have been like, Luka's gonna win the championship. He's going to 5K. Right?
It's always the problem, the selling.
Yeah, it's like crypto. I just hold on to it forever.
Right? Exactly. So that's an example of a loss, and then. An example of a win is you buy into the breaks, a Colt spot for $400, and I hit an Anthony Richardson 1-of-1 autograph, and I get a $25,000 offer on it off a $300 spot.
Well,
now,
next time, would you take that offer?
I didn't take that offer, by the way. I said I want
deal or no deal.
I want 40K, and then Anthony Richards plays like trash. Now, luckily, I do still have that card, and hopefully, I get another 25.
Hopefully, he can
now
beat
you're a
out
Colts
Dan
fan
Jones.
this year.
Yeah. Hopefully Dan Jones can lose the job for him.
Yeah, super fun. And yeah, we're going to be doing some breaks with Dappz.
Don't let me install this TikTok app. I'm gonna find myself addicted.
Kramer's going to be fun.
I'm addicted to spinning the money bag wheel over at my bookie and just getting a random bet on the Kentucky Derby. So this is going to be excellent.
Well, yeah, the lovely thing about sports cards breaks, NFL specifically for you guys, is that sports cards breaks do not end. There's no off season. So in the off season of the NFL, you can still basically gamble on football and not have to gamble on a Kentucky Derby.
Love it.
So, Sean, maybe we replace best ball with
some pack breaks. No, super excited. Obviously, hit us
24
up.
24 hours of pack breaks.
Hit us up if you're interested in pack breaks. We'll talk about it in the Discord. I know some trading card stuff, but hit us up on social at Game of Podcast if you want to maybe get in some of these breaks, and obviously check out Dappz Sports. But of course,
we'll give away some free teams for your guys over the next couple weeks.
We'll hook them up. Yeah. All right. Got a shout out to Edge Boost. Of course. Have you ever had your deposit blocked by your bank right before big bet? Ever needed cash at 2 a.m. for another shot at the tables? But hit your ATM limit. We've all been there. Edge Boost has your back. Edge Boost is the first ever bank account built for bettors. Edge Boost gives you reliable access to your funds, make it easier to move money when and where you need it without the delays that come with traditional banks. For you high rollers, you can move up to $250,000 a day on your Edge Boost Visa debit card with unlimited withdrawals. This works 24/7 for instant deposits. Never wait for a wire to clear. Again, it gets better every time you deposit to a qualified gambling account. You're in cashback rewards up to 0.5%. All this for no usage fees and no minimum balance. Edge Boost is a debit account that makes it easy to get started with no credit checks, no minimum balance, and no usage fees. Simply verify your identity and you're ready to go. Finally, Edge Boost has a suite of responsible gambling tools to help you manage your bankroll and make more informed decisions. What are you waiting for? Go to edgeboost.bet. Promo code SGPN, EdgeBoost.bet, promo code SGPN. Sign up for Edge Boost today. And we're also brought to you by MyBookie.ag. NBA playoffs going down. You got the money bag that Kramer loves, 100% match up to $1,000. Terms and conditions apply. But yeah, and a bunch of markets open for the NFL draft props. Head over to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN. Get the 100% deposit match. Mybookie.ag, promo code SGPN.
All right, so I got a question,
yes.
Sean. So you're very much out there defending Jalen Hurts against the haters.
I am
in the sports card marketplace right now. More attractive card to hold: a Jalen Hurts or a Jaden Daniels?
Jaden Daniels. This is somewhat of an unfair question. Jalen Hurts is extremely disrespected.
Yes,
in the sports card market.
Yeah,
right?
Just like real life.
Those nerds, I gotta beat them up.
Super disrespected. It's wild. I've actually done a number of like podcast episodes on this for the sports card junkies. Like this, and this is basically like you look at their career stats, MVP,
Super Bowl MVP,
right.
And people are like, that fucking who's that clown? I gotta look his name up. But they're still disrespecting. They're still disrespecting Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl MVP. You cannot get higher, and it's like, yeah, if I was starting in a franchise, he wouldn't be one of my first 10 quarterbacks. What franchise are you gonna start? Ones that win the fucking Super Bowl, and he was damn close to winning another one against the Chiefs. Sorry,
he was, and you should rant because I know you're an Eagles fan, and
yeah, come on,
you're emotionally attached to the team and the guy. But to be honest, like you're right about this one. Jalen Hurts should be at the top of the pack when it comes to price in relation to the top 10 quarterbacks. There's absolutely no reason Josh Allen should be worth more than Jalen Hurts, right? So, and by the way, too, Lamar Jackson, he. Argue the way you will. I thought he was the MVP last year. I think they had to give it to Josh Allen because you could have argued last year that Josh could have won it over Lamar. I think the statistics, though, this year Lamar should have won. Whatever, neither here nor there. But either way, if you have two, this is pretty simple math. If you have two MVPs versus somebody who has one MVP, your card price should be more than the other guy. You would think
it's like a reward thing, like a little medal.
That's not the case.
But it's the market, right? The market is the market.
It's the market. And then the next thing is the market, the sports card market is extremely irrational when it comes to first-year rookies.
Yeah. It's like the dynasty fantasy players, right? Like they love the upside, the potential.
And by the way, don't get me wrong, there's also a ton. That's where you make your money is being that scout and predicting the next MVP or the next Super Bowl winner, right? So at the moment, the top 10 quarterback or top 5 quarterback rookies from last year are worth more than Jalen Hurts.
That's insane. Well, Bo Nix had a pretty good year. I'm a Bo Nix guy, but Bo Nix is probably shit on a bunch in the market too.
So at the moment, and I could be mildly off these numbers, but Jaden Daniels is double the price of the next guy.
Oh my
Bo
God.
Nix recently jumped Caleb Williams.
Really? Now that's surprising.
Right. Now, listen.
So Caleb Williams probably because I would imagine he came in with so much hype and not lived up to it that maybe people are a little nervous.
Well, listen, I've made mistakes, every mistake you can make in purchasing sports cards, and my personal opinion now is like, spend money on a guy you believe in. Just spend money on one guy. You can, diversify, and it's just you're not going to make sales in real time unless you're constantly going to sports card shows and you're constantly on eBay. So if you're not going to make 20, 30 different sales, then you should just invest the money that you have, whether it's $1,000 or $5K or 500, whatever you're comfortable spending on a guy. Pick a card in that range. Jaden Daniels, there's a card called Downtown, and it's this very sought after card in the market, and it's not easy to hit. Let's say Jaden Daniels is worth $1,500 right now, and Caleb Williams and Bo Nix are floating around 800, 700, half that. I look at that and I go, Ben Johnson's in town. Caleb Williams has weapons. Like that math doesn't make sense to me. Jaden Daniels is not double the quarterback of Caleb Williams.
No.
And that's where you make money in this market. And that's where a lot of the guys watching here, if you're following daily fantasy or you're following prop bets, like you're in these numbers every day and you're looking for opportunity. You can do the same thing with sports cards.
Sean, get a hold of the account. We're getting off our Jaden Daniels position. If I was a Jaden Daniels holder right now, I feel like I'd want to sell.
He
had such an optimal first season.
He won Rookie of the Year, and he made the conference championship in his rookie year. In some ways, his value, at least from like a card dynasty, whatever perspective, is not going to get any higher. He can only mess it up. Like, I'm sure
MVP,
I don't know
Super Bowl.
I don't know the card values at all, but I imagine CJ Stroud 2 years ago, rookie of the year, won that first playoff game, looked okay against the Ravens. I'm sure going into last year, CJ Stroud's cards were like sky high in value and probably went down, right?
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And the market is so irrational also that the height of the price of any particular player, like Jaden Daniels, after he beat the Lions, the price went ballistic. God. And by the way, he loses the next week or 2 weeks later, and then
he got his ass.
It's just the whole point though is that like he didn't win anything.
No,
he won a playoff game, and then so that's the irrationality. So when Joe Burrow played the Rams years ago, there's something called a gold prism. It's his rookie gold prism, and there's only 10 of these things in the world, right? So the gold is the variation that everybody wants because there's only 10 of them. This card sells for $70,000 the week before the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow loses the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the guy who spends that money, you're immediately down minimum half, right? So that card went from 70K to 35K. Now, granted, after the Super Bowl, he probably could have sold it for 100 or 150. And that's the gambling aspect of sports cards, right?
Oh, right. My DGen brain is firing on all
It sounds like SGPN needs to get some of their research and development kitty into the trading card game.
Well, and again, I think if you follow to Matt's point, if you're following kind of the teams, the angles, at least for me, it's from
you mean
doing
if you're
this,
studying four round mock drafts.
Yeah, for me
in February.
Yeah, I mean Kramer is giving out plays on like the first safety to be drafted, long shot stuff. So for guys like us, and I'm sure a bunch of our listeners who really do know ball,
right, that's it.
And also too,
I'm in.
Kramer, I could tell you so many. I mean, we nailed it with Houston. I'm sure Washington's going to be this team. The height team coming in, the teams to fade, or at least like that's going to be overvalued in the market.
Oh, I mean,
like the only way Jaden Daniels goes up is if he wins the Super Bowl MVP, and then even then, it's like goes up a little bit.
I hate that you're laying down a complete hater track that could be one of the greatest motivating reverse jinxes of all. If Jaden Daniels goes MVP Super Bowl, we're coming back to this day.
Okay,
we're blaming you.
And I actually have another story that you guys are gonna love.
Yeah.
So. I told you about the gold prism Joe Burrow. I have the opportunity. Somebody buys into a break that I don't know through a mutual friend, and he hits something called the gold vinyl Brock Purdy rookie card. Now this one, instead of out of 10, is out of 5.
Oh shit.
My God.
Right. And for whatever reason, and these are the nuances of the sports card market, gold is usually valued more than gold vinyl, even though there's 10 of them. I'm not going to explain that right now because I really can't tell you why.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Anyway, there's 5 of this card. This guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, my buddy's got this card. He wants to sell it." And I'm like, I don't want to overpay on this thing. He wanted 10K. I'm like, offer him 4,000. A couple days later, he's like, he'll do 4,500.
Oh.
I break my buddy off 500. I get it for what I say is close to half off. What you do with sports cards is it's called raw. A sports card raw means you just pulled it out of a fresh pack. Now, what you want to do is you want to take this card and send it to an appraising company, specifically PSA, the Professional Sports Authenticators, right? They're going to give the card a grade out of 10, 10 of 10 being the best. So that means it's a pristine card.
Yep.
So just for reference here, Mickey Mantle, SGC 9.5 out of 10, sold for $12 million. That's the highest sale ever of any sports card.
Really?
That was that card was printed in 1952.
If only my mom didn't throw out all my baseball cards.
And everybody's
my Mickey Mantle rookie card.
I put those in my bike smokes.
The bike
right?
smokes was the other story we always heard.
You threw them.
So back to Brock Purdy. I take this card to the national convention, which I told you about in Chicago, and I bring it to this company called BGS, and they give me a 9 out of 10. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Because between a 9 and a 10 is
huge.
a 3 or 4x. It's a huge difference,
really?
Right? So what do? We crack it open. We take it out. We walk to a different authenticator, PSA, give it to them, right? PSA 10, 3 hours later.
Nice.
Really?
Then I take it. So I'm sorry. We wait till the season starts. This was not last year, the year before, when the Niners went on that run where they won the first 3 or 4 games. Yeah. They were unstoppable. I send it to an auction house. And I'm like, I really think this card could sell like 15, 20K. Sells for $35,000.
Shit.
God damn.
Right.
For a 5K investment.
A 5K investment. Yep. So these are the examples of how you can kind of maneuver through sports cards. And listen, that grade, getting a 9 from one company and a 10 from it's few and far between, right? I would not advise people at that as a strategy. Yeah. But this insane dude just cracked open this. This is online. I'll send it to you guys after the show. He cracked open this like $75,000 Michael Jordan card, and he did it with like a kitchen knife. It was insane. No. Like there's a way a proper way you're supposed to do this. And he did it with like
I was going down the rabbit hole, and it was like proper way to open your PSA, like so you don't damage the card.
He did not do that.
Yeah, Sean should just not be opening any.
I'm a little clumsy. Kramer will be in charge of opening our cards.
So this guy, and I could be slightly off on the numbers if anybody's watching, but it was like a $75,000 Michael Jordan card. It was a 9.5 out of 10. Cracked it. He sent it to PSA, and it became $150,000. So the card like doubled in price, and it might have even been $1 million card. I don't know what it was, but it was a rare Michael Jordan card from the 90s. He cracked it open with a kitchen knife, and this is how you make money doing this stuff, and you gotta know these things though, and it's
you got to know. Wow. That's. At least, and it's good. We're going to be doing some breaks together because Kramer and I, obviously we know ball, we got the D-gens, but the game
with hazmat suit. We're doing the breaks.
Well, the game within the game of like getting the cards rated, where you can get, I don't know. There's just obviously a ton of nuance in the collector memorabilia, which you guys are obviously very tuned into, right?
Yeah, we're very tuned in, and that's where we can really help your audience or anybody, who is interested in getting into the sports card market. And listen, if you're a fan of sports, man, it's just fun. Yeah, it's fun. It gives you an adrenaline rush. It's something to do in the off season of your favorite sport, whether it's basketball, baseball, football. You can kind of watch and still chase. If you're a Jaden Daniels,
a little bit of high.
Yeah, it's a little bit of high, right? And then you have this. You also have this asset, right? And that might sound insane that it's cardboard. But beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? Whatever it's worth,
it's more believable than a NFT on a blockchain somewhere.
Well,
at least it's physical.
Well, to that point though, and I think when you made that point to me of like, hey, if you bet on the Packers, laying 3 points and they lose, your $100 is gone. At least now you're probably buying for the most part teams you're a fan of. Hey, at the worst case, I got some Packers cards. I have a couple of Eagles cards sitting on my desk, and I'm like, maybe Matt will say one of these are worth something. I'm like, hey, what do you think? Is like, yeah, these are all shitty. They're not worth anything, but they're cool looking. I'm like, yeah, so I have them on my desk.
You know what I got to do, Sean?
Yeah.
My youngest daughter did come into a windfall of cash. Winning 13.
Ryan's daughter won our Super Bowl squares, which was worth a lot of money.
Yeah, it was a nice 5-figure score for my daughter.
Wow.
Maybe we'll have to get her into some sports cards.
Yeah. Is she fiscally responsible?
Well, I did make.
She does invest in Bitcoin.
Yeah, a decent amount is in Bitcoin, so she's doing all right, and it's gone up. So she's very into crypto right now. But sports cards could be that's the thing.
Yeah, I'd probably advise her to stay in crypto over sports.
Really? Less volatile.
Unless she's a D-gen like us and you're following this stuff every single day.
She's super into some of these weird collectibles. These like little dolls, like Asian, like
the pop-up things?
Yeah, K-pop, like I don't know. I have no idea what it is, but she's very into it. Anyway, sports cards next. Get her into something normal.
Get her into sports cards. All right. Real quick shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Of course, get in on the Underdog Fantasy. Love the Underdog Pick'em. Of course, available in a ton of states. Higher, lower. We love playing it. Was just sweating out. I used my did a pretty sweet it was called Deal Reveal on a Tuesday here. and they showed you a bunch of players. You got to pick one. They discounted the number. I got a Steph Curry higher, 23 points. Seeing you already got that with 6:13 left. He's got 27 points.
Sean.
Thank you. And of course, I use that promo code SGPN, so I got the deposit match up to $1,000. Download the Underdog Fantasy app today. Use that promo code SGPN. And of course, we're also brought to you by Rhythm, your home for AI backed picks and props. Rhythm is great, man. I should have used some of the Rhythm plays for the Masters. They did a great job over on that. And MLB, the MLB product is live. I know Scott and Adam have been dominating with the Rhythm app for their MLB prop show that they're running on the network. They've really been cleaning up, and we got a bunch of sweet deals over there. SGPN 25, you get 25% off the monthly subscription, and SGPN 50% off the annual subscription. Of course, sign up today and you get the 7-day free trial per. Kramer, I've said it. I dare anyone to sign up for Rhythm 7-day free trial and not like it. Of course you can cancel, but hit me up if you don't like it. Once you start building your own models for picking, and that's really where the fun is. If you don't feel like doing that, you could use Rhythm's models, but build your own. It's really fun, very easy. You just adjust the sliders and they do the heavy lifting. Try the 7-day free trial today. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, man. The DGen brain is flowing, but we also got to do some picks. We brought Matt on and just got sidetracked talking shop. Really good stuff though. But Kramer, why don't we give out some draft props? Matt brought some of his own props. Talk a little shop here. Kramer, why don't you start? What's a prop you like?
All right. So mentioned that we were moving markets earlier today. Every year, love a good safety prop because the safeties often don't go in the first round. A little bit more variance, and this year you got Starks out of Georgia, who everyone is kind of pinning as like he played for Georgia for 3 years. He's an absolute gonna be a contributor to your defense right away. But the asterisk, not an elite athlete. That can drive these guys down the board sometimes. And then you have the kid out of South Carolina, Emuwari. Bold of me to try to say that. he's the freak athlete, Derwin James type. But what's wrong with him? Well, he's got some red flags that aren't between the sidelines, Sean. The kind that also might get him off some teams' draft boards. Yeah. Again, not a lot of teams looking at safety in the first round or even the second round. So we're going to look at Xavier Watts out of Notre Dame. He was 75 to 1 earlier this morning. I shouldn't have gone on to VSiN and give it out. It's now down to 45 to 1.
Yeah, no, I saw that. And just the fact that I don't know who else gave out a Xavier Watts play today. It's got to only be Ryan. No, but it was 75 to 1. Now it's 45 to 1.
It's 45 to 1. And I get that you're hoping for the 2 or 3 teams that are in the market for a safety this high. Which again, many teams view a safety as one of those positions you just don't invest a first round pick in. So if we can hope that the teams that need him decide to wait, Xavier Watts is the best. Like he's a center of the field ball hawk, like pass defending safety. Like his weakness is run defense, which oftentimes is and he ran a slow 40. So again, was 75 to 1. He's now 45 to 1. And I think every year until the end of time, I will fire at the first safety market with someone who's not the chalk.
No, it's a good long shot. Yeah. And safety has a ton of variance. So it makes a ton of sense.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, Ryan.
Thank you.
Matt, what's a prop jumping out at you for the NFL draft?
I wish I had a sexier, like larger payoff, but
that's all right.
I think that my first play that I had for you guys is just Jackson Dart to be drafted top 10 to me seems like a pretty easy plus 200 play. I don't like this whole Sanders is dropping to the 9th or 10th pick. Like there's just a lot of bad teams without a quarterback. I mean, the Titans are a bad team without a quarterback. The Browns are a bad team without a quarterback. You could say that the Jaguars and the Raiders are bad teams with a mediocre quarterback, right? The Saints are a bad team with a bad quarterback. So there's
he's also maybe opting out from football next year with his shoulder boo-boo that apparently
very
might be
confusing.
fake.
Very confusing.
Listen, the only teams to me that do not need a quarterback are the Patriots and the Patriots in the first 10.
Yeah, no, it is crazy.
Like
I like that, including the Jags in there. Sharp. We agree. Goldilocks.
We're not huge Trevor Lawrence fans. So.
And listen, I see all the mocks, by the way, and I also want to let everybody know too, being a Jets fan, of course. I don't know if you remember this, but Baker Mayfield was supposed to be the third or fourth guy off the board years ago. And
late steam.
It swapped like a week or even maybe days before. Morning of, everyone's like, oh, Baker Mayfield's the best guy in the draft.
He was 10-1 the night before. We woke up and he was like -300.
It was crazy. I can't remember the first pick. So changing that much.
Can I tell you why I love this Jackson Dart play?
Yeah.
Because I'm now starting to get back into the idea that the Saints could take a quarterback, and I think they like Jackson Dart more.
Well, and again,
from what I've read, I think this is an interesting one. The idea that Jackson Dart goes before Shedeur Sanders too.
Well, and
becoming more real in my eyes.
And so with all these bets, shop around obviously between books, but even within the same book, like similar outcomes, right? So I'm with you. I like Jackson Dart top 10 plus 200. I think that's a very good price. And we probably think it's going Saints, right? It might not. Maybe someone trades up. Maybe your point. Maybe one of these bad teams realizes like, hey, shit, we actually need a quarterback.
Or if Shedeur goes 2 or 3. Also, there's a lot of scenarios where this
lot of outs. Saints to draft a quarterback is -170. To me, I guess I could see Shedeur going there, but I would rather roll the dice and play Jackson Dart top 10 plus 200 because I feel like I almost have more ways to get that done than laying -170 for them just to draft a quarterback. So, and just the Saints, right? Because they're a team could trade up into the top 10 and get that done. So I like that. I'm going to co-sign the Jackson Dart top 10 quarterback.
Well, and what's interesting is Jackson Dart to be the second quarterback is also moved down to 2-1. Sean, that's
really
that we know that's been floating like plus 350, plus 400.
But top 10. You don't have to be. You could be the third quarterback. You could be the second quarterback, right?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. The top 10, you're probably getting more ways, probably.
And listen, let's also talk about the Falcons last year, right? So Penix, obviously,
it's just crazy,
which is the most insane thing ever. And using that as a precedent, the only teams that I can confidently say in the top 10 who 100% are not drafting a quarterback are the Bears at number 10, and the Patriots at number 4.
So you don't think Bryce Young's on the hot seat? Carolina at 8?
Well, all I'm saying to you is that if you could sign Kirk Cousins to a 4-year, close to $200 million deal and then draft Michael Penix, are you really going to tell me that you would be shocked if the Panthers drafted a quarterback more than that pick? And
but I also think, to more kind of solidify this as being a bet, Carolina also is the trade up team. If there is someone that likes Dart, thinks the Saints might take him at 9.
Yeah.
The 8 become a trade up to 8 becomes pretty interesting. I don't know who it is, but
no, and sir, it could be
Rams.
Honestly, it might be a team like the Rams. Kramer gave out Rams to draft a quarterback first, and they're doing a ton of work on Jackson. And now it's 5-1. So again, much like the card game where the draft prices are just moving based on some of these guys' mock drafts. It's all just people are just pulling shit out of their ass.
I also read something about the private workouts are for Shedeur being scheduled this late was Shedeur's camp in an attempt to inflate his potential draft interest.
And there's a lot going on with Shedeur. I do think there is a chance Ryan Shedeur goes number 3 to the Giants. I know that's
stop it.
I know that's not your ideal scenario, but two things. One, the fact that they're doing this late thing makes me think, one, this is a big decision. The owner wants to get involved. He wants eyes on the product. Two, the
That's
counter is a ray of hope for you if you don't want Shedeur drafted number 3 for you. Is Shedeur was not listed on the draft invite list. Dion super plugged it. If Dion and the Sanders
they turned it down.
No, I know, but I'm saying they turned it down. Dion, I think if they knew he was going top 3, or at least got a good sense that he was going top 3, I think he would have accepted.
Yeah, he also wouldn't have said we're cool with all the teams.
But
he went from saying we're cool with 3 teams to we're cool with all the teams.
Now maybe I'm reading into it too much. I think Dion's plugged in, but maybe the Giants are playing it close. It sounds like the Giants are really having a big debate as to whether Shedeur or Abdul Carter at number 3. And
Shedeur will sell jerseys.
Shout out to Robot Glock in the chat saying already has Tyler Warren top 5 at 34-1 from this show. Worth it to double up and take Tyler Warren exactly to be 5th overall now, 23-1 at FanDuel. I'll give you something I like better, Robot Glock, if that is your real name. So what I like is identify chaos teams. To me, the Jaguars, they're a chaos team. They could do anything because it's a new coaching staff. You have a crazy owner. I mean, the fucking,
you seen the GM?
The GM.
He's like
34 years old. They're all very young. No one knows what the hell this Jaguars team is going to do. So lean into the uncertainty. I like Jags first position selected a cornerback at 16-1 and Jags select a tight end at 17-1. Maybe they stay at 5. Maybe they trade down a little bit and still get Tyler Warren. Maybe they take they probably have the crack at the first cornerback available. We don't know what the hell this team's going to do. Ryan Evan Silva just put out a mock draft where they had a cornerback going to the Jags at now that guy exactly going number 5 is 35-1. I'd just rather play cornerback because they might like Will Johnson to go there and you get paid at 16-1. They might like Tyler Warren at 17-1. Like you, I just like leaning into chaos for the Jags. I think they could even be a secret GT team. Like nothing would surprise me with this Jags team. But honestly,
I think the Jags, the Raiders, the Jets, the Panthers, all of those teams I could see potentially trading down.
Yeah. And so again, that's why this market is fun to play the long shots because they're going to draft GT at number 6.
Mm-hmm.
The Raiders have so many holes. I'm still skeptical of him definitely going there. At least price. I would love. What do you think the Jets are going to do? Do you have any props you like for the Jets?
Yes. So listen, the Jets are notorious for making the wrong fucking pick, and everything.
Speaking like a true Jets fan.
Everything in my body says you need an offensive lineman, right? And like I have seen more recently, Armand going at that pick, which is what the Jets should do.
Yes,
right.
And just real quick to jump in. Everyone who gives out draft picks so many times, they start it by going, he is a great right tackle. The Jets need a right tackle. They should be Nembu at 7 makes so much sense. They forget that these organizations, a lot of them have their head up their fucking ass. You have to handicap what the team is going to do. Take apart film study and everything. What are these crazy ass teams going to do? Because it doesn't matter what they should do. It matters what they will do. Sorry to interrupt.
And because of that, because the Jets clearly should take an offensive lineman to protect Justin Fields and Breece Hall and get the ball to Garrett Wilson. I like Tyler Warren plus 280, right? Because like that, why would you draft a tight end?
Yeah.
Like the Jets do not need a tight end. Don't get me wrong. If Tyler Warren is a Brock Bowers type, but listen, the Brock Bowers of the world, they don't come around every year.
No.
Let's be real here.
But it's great. If I'm Tyler Warren, I'm giving some of Brock Bowers some of my cash because that's got to help him.
Now, what I love way more is going to be fun for the D-Gens is a parlay.
Oh, let's go.
Okay. And the parlay, and I really don't think this is that crazy, by the way.
All right.
Tyler Warren, this is top 10 draft picks.
Oh,
all right.
I like this. A top 10 parlay.
A top 10 parlay. Tyler Warren minus 155, Jackson Dart plus 200, Shedeur Sanders minus 220 pays out plus 617.
I will say, Yeah, we're at that point now where I've listened to so many people just shit on this draft class in general. It does seem like the blue chip guys, like the 4 or 5 guys, Tyler Warren being one of them, and the quarterbacks, like we're going to be surprised by something, Sean. Yeah. I'm getting more and more convinced of that.
No, there's going to be a Michael Penix that blows up all this chalk.
There's good. I think someone's going to trade. I'm starting to think that there will be a trade up into the top 10. Now I don't know who it's going to be for, but I think we're definitely going to see some fun trades. Now,
Matt, one of the plays I like for the Jets.
With Tyler, by the way, if the Jets do draft Tyler Warren, he also will be in a amazing like jet neck roll. Hairy white guy who runs really fast.
Jets fans will embrace him, but to your point,
can Justin Fields get him the ball?
Yeah.
It would be a very Jets pick.
Which, by the way, Warren. After really shitting on Justin Fields coming out of school, I'm kind of turned into a fan. So I'll be rooting for him.
He's a fun redemption.
It could have been the Steelers last year that got me in, but I'm rooting for him now.
And I swear this has nothing to do with me owning a Justin Fields gold prism.
Oh, see, yeah.
But I think he's a great player too.
If they're smart and if the Jets could just load up and be a run first team, let him run. Give him 12 carries a game. He's the toughest guy to tackle in the NFL at the quarterback position.
This is an interesting angle. Jets to draft a D-line edge plus 750. I don't think that's that crazy considering you have a new defensive minded head coach, Mason Graham, who could be considered one of the top outside Abdul Carter, one of the top defensive linemen. If he's there, I think the Jets drafting a D-line edge at plus 750. Am I crazy for that, Matt? It feels like they could use help on the D-line. Like they need a defensive tackle.
Listen, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think the wild card there is just, are the Jaguars taking him at 5?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, well, and the Jaguars again are wide open. And
I, again, back to, let's just talk this through real quick. The Titans could use a quarterback. The Browns could use a quarterback. The Giants could use a quarterback. The Jaguars could use a quarterback. The Raiders could use a quarterback.
It's a lot of quarterbacks.
The Jets could use a quarterback. The Panthers could use a quarterback. The Saints could use a quarterback. So again, that's what you guys are talking about with this weird trade up that could potentially happen, where maybe the Jaguars are like, we can get Mason Graham at 8. We can get him at 7. We can get him at whatever pick it is. Maybe the Raiders don't care about Ashton Genty. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the top 3 or 4 wants Ashton Genty because they think they can, who knows what they're thinking. After that Kirk Cousins signing and Penix
really
trade, I don't think anything that happens this year is going to be insane to us. And by the way, I believe this is the first year, as of right now, as we sit here, that every team has their first round pick.
Yeah.
In like 25 years or whatever the timeline is.
Very long time.
So statistically speaking, that's going to change before the draft. The first round of the draft.
Great point. The likelihood that all 32 teams make a pick in the first round, I would say, is pretty low. In fact, you can bet. I think they have a total up of it's at 30.5 total teams to make a pick in the first round, Sean. So that number anticipates some movement. By the way, so all these teams needing a quarterback, but maybe they don't take. I'm going to circle back to this. The Niners to take a quarterback first, Sean. Is there any chance? It's still sitting at 50-1. Any chance the Niners are one of those teams that trade up,
I don't think
hop over the Saints to get a little Jackson Dart in his life?
I don't think so. But again,
I don't either. I don't either. But had to say it out loud.
Yeah. Let's see. What's another one you like, Ryan?
All right. Let's see. Let's stay in the division. So the Rams. So we've already talked about the Rams taking a quarterback.
Okay.
Well, another position that again, I don't know what they actually need. I think the offense is pretty loaded up, and I think the defense, they've been hitting on these draft picks, especially along the defensive line. Sean, we talked about safety earlier. So one of the positions the Rams actually could use is a safety. 15-1
for the Rams,
first position. So now this adding to my 14-1 quarterback position, right part of the draft for the safety there in the last 6 picks of the first round. And again, I don't exactly know what they need. I'm kind of at a place where I'm just going to keep plucking up these numbers. I considered talking about running back here, I just don't think Sean McVay would ever spend a first rounder on a running back, but it is
Kyron
7-1.
Williams though has been like really good.
It seems like he's very good, and like part of their strategy is going to be constantly having a room full of dudes. So when one guy goes down, they have been pretty reliant on his touchdown efficiency. But anyway, safety for the Rams 15-1 does seem like it's one of the positions they could need more than others.
One of the angles I'm leaning into is I'm just skeptical that Ashton Jeanty is totally going to the Raiders.
I think the market agrees with you, or it wouldn't still be minus.
Well, to your point, Ryan, you said if it's such a sure thing, why is it only minus 150 for them to draft a running back? And the Raiders to draft a cornerback is 3-1. I'm going to take it one step further. I think the cornerback they would draft would be Will Johnson. So Will Johnson to be the 6th pick overall is plus 650. So it's almost double the price. I'm leaning into the idea that, Pete Carroll's a guy who the Legion of Boom, they need help stopping the quarterbacks. You're in a division with Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, who some people think are a good quarterback. You need to slow down the passing game. And I think they're going to draft a Michigan defender. Maybe they go early on Mason Graham, but I'll play Will Tom Johnson. Brady thing? Yeah, I think that's legit.
Also, Will Johnson, most of the scouts are saying better in zone than man. Patrick Graham's going to put him in better situations. Think James Bradbury on the Giants, like not really having to be the best athlete. The injury concern is the reason you're worried here, but he's tall.
Yeah.
He's like 6'2", which is what Pete Carroll likes the long defensive backs. So I'm with you. I think the Jeanty thing's interesting because I'm still convinced that if the Raiders don't take him, someone's going to trade up.
Well, and I would say adding to the Will Johnson thing, and maybe the better, the Raiders could trade down if they don't get Jeanty. That would obviously probably cook the number 6 pick overall for Will Johnson. But his medical, that was a big concern, and supposedly it's come back pretty good. So that should help his stock.
Remember, Jalen Ramsey is also about to get traded.
Yeah.
So where he gets traded will also affect some of these picks. Because, by the way, to your point, if Jalen Ramsey ends up a Raider in the next 6 days, there's your answer to that bet, right?
Yeah. Well, but
I also think specifically with a guy like Will Johnson, you have to know what kind of defense that team's playing. Cause I think that the book is out on Will. I don't think a team that plays a lot of press man and stuff like that is really going to look to play. It's going to have to be more zone.
And I would say to Matt's point about the trade stuff, like that's why especially this far out, and it seems crazy saying, well, what the draft is only a week away,
but it is talk Baker Mayfield.
It is relatively far out, but as far as draft stuff, that's why you don't lay massive chalk for the most part, because a trade like this, to Matt's point, could happen. Someone could get one of these, trade up into the top 10, and it totally blows up your chalk. If I lose a 6-1, I'm not as pissed. If I'm, have a minus 400 or minus 500, then obviously I'm super pissed. So that's why you kind of want to keep your head on the swivel late, this far out, quote unquote. Keeping an eye on.
It's also feeling like, by the way, that the Dolphins are doing this with the intention of taking Will Johnson at 13,
and that certainly could be it too.
The Dolphins are a team that I have no read on, because it seems obvious it should be offensive line, but there's like they're messaging around receiver.
They're
cornerback.
Definitely a chaos team as well, because our buddy CJ gave out. Dolphins to draft a receiver at like 40-1.
It's down to 10-1.
It's because of the Tyreek Hill stuff. A draft day trade of Tyreek Hill. Maybe they send him back to Kansas City. That to me is not too wild. And at 40-1, it's super fun sweat. I've also heard. Now I don't know if Matt, you probably follow the Jets rumors more than I. I heard that there is some talk about Sauce Gardner possibly being traded to the Vikings. And that the Vikings are doing whatever they can to trade for Sauce Gardner. Have you heard anything about that?
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. One, because the Jets are dopes. Two, because Sauce Gardner has made some public tweets criticizing the team, which, by the way, are warranted. Woody Johnson needs to sell the team. He's an idiot. I mean, I could rant about this for the entire show, and I'll save both of you the time, but at the same token, I have to bring this up because there's so many Jets fans who I'm in these group chats with.
Oh my God.
Listen, I want everybody to let's be true football fans here. Aaron Rodgers gets signed by the Jets. First game. By the way, I flew from Los Angeles to MetLife to watch this game. No. Left the stadium. We came back, won the game. I didn't even care. I was like, the season's over.
Yeah.
I left the game at halftime. Comes back the following year. One of the quickest recovery times you've seen. So now we're talking about the first game, the first couple of weeks, the first full season with his head coach. The head coach gets fired the fifth game. The fifth game.
Crazy.
And then the GM a couple weeks after that, simultaneously while all this is happening, instead of trading for Davante Adams week 2 or week 3, they pause and do it week 6 after there's all this drama. So now we've got Davante Adams. We're like 2-4 when you could have done this week 2, kept the coach, kept the GM. Their
defense was never the same too.
Their defense was never the same. And listen, you can criticize Aaron Rodgers all you want. The crazy thing to me was that Rodgers took all the heat, and it's clearly the management of the team, right?
He's an easy target.
He's an easy target. He's taking ayahuasca. He's taking walks on the beach. He's got all of these
McAfee appearances.
Yeah, like
he's a medical expert.
But the fact of the matter is, Jets fans should understand that the owner is the problem.
Yeah.
It starts from the top. It trickled down. We're talking about a GM and Joe Douglas who drafted Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, and Sauce Gardner.
Back like you had offensive and defensive rookie of the year.
This guy's hitting over and over again. And then we had a little bit of typical bad luck for the Jets. Aaron Rodgers, tears his Achilles game 1, but you're not going to give this guy 2. Who is our quarterback? We got Justin Fields. Okay, great. We have Aaron Glenn, who's never been a head coach before.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Aaron Glenn fan, by the way. Loved him when he was on the Jets, but I was rooting for Rex Ryan again because at least I know what Rex Ryan did.
Commodity.
I know what he did with the defense.
He's coached.
And he had Mark Sanchez.
Yeah.
I would actually feel more confident with Justin Fields and Rex Ryan.
Right. There is like this problem where we have to try the new coach, not the guy who's done it before. And there is an element of like CEO, like running a business.
Yeah. It's the new
these young kids. It's like, that's the number one thing where it's like, you look at the Jags and you're like, look at that guy. Like he's the guy that everyone knows. They had their corporate job and there was that brown noser who somehow got the office before everyone else and just had no fucking clue what he was doing.
And by the way, Rex Ryan took the Jets to 2 AFC championship games. That's the best they've ever done. Yeah. So it's like, at least this guy has been there before. And listen, I'm hoping for the best with Aaron Glenn, but I don't hope too much with the Jets.
There is an element of like where you're like, oh well, your defenses were never really that good. Hopefully, you got that Dan Campbell spirit.
Kramer, toss out another draft prop for the folks. I know you got a big kitty, and we're unloading it all this week, next week. Just Draft-a-Palooza, and we will be doing a live draft stream. Of course, we do our live reaction show, get a bunch of listeners, SGBN contributors, live watch along with the round 1 draft. I think we've had a bunch of fun moments. Kramer reacting to Kadarius Toney draft pick. That was
shout out to Nagel's Bagels listener completely lost his mind, tipped the pick, and then was just so bad. It was all right. Really so I found a interesting one.
Okay.
You're aware of James Pierce Jr.
Yes.
Tennessee pass rusher. Some could say, when he's on, one of the best players in the draft, but might have some off-field stuff. My deep dive led me to find that he actually may be crazy on a scale where he's making other football players who might be crazy feel off put and nervous about their well-being. So some teams might have Pierce off their board. He's minus 240 to go ahead of Jalen Milroe. Now I've been joking that like Pierce to the Eagles seems like a done deal. He's an SEC guy. He's got red flags, character concerns. Just throw him in the inmate or the prison with all the other inmates. He'll be fine. Jalen Milroe accepted the invite to Green Bay.
Yeah.
No one knows why, but he accepted it. It's plus 185 for Jalen Milroe to go before James Pierce, a guy that we know is at least off of a half dozen teams boards, if not more.
Yeah,
so we're gonna dial up a little conspiracy theory stuff here. Why Jalen Milroe accepted that invite to sit in the green room and rot for an overnight period is beyond me. So he must know something. So we're taking Jalen Milroe to go before James Pierce Jr. at plus 185.
Shout out to Go B. I like that angle.
Which, by the way, I could be in the second round. We could have a nice overnight sweat into Friday.
A shout out to Go Beeves in the chat asking Sean, who do your Eagles pick in the first round? Well, again,
Pierce is one of the guys on the list.
When you're picking 32, Go Beeves, it's tough to predict because you're so far back in the draft and you got that Super Bowl ring blinding you. I do think they just default to defensive line, right? They lost defensive linemen relatively deep. Now there are some people trying to talk up the Eagles to draft a tight end. I'm a little skeptical. If right now, if I had to guess, I would think Dallas Goedert is back, and I'd be very surprised if they used a first round pick on a tight end. That doesn't seem very Philadelphia Eagles. They just default to O-line and D-line. Probably D-line considering what they lost in the offseason, but it could. I think it'll just be best lineman available.
They trade out because the team wants to get a QB in the first round.
Yeah,
I could see them going safety as well.
That's interesting. And Ryan, you mentioned you thought the loss at defensive lineman could hurt the secondary. Honestly, I think losing CJGJ it would impact them more. And to your point, safety.
Well, actually, I should get an update.
They are very locked in. I think they took off Eagles' first draft position. Oh wait, no, it's back. Safety's 7-1.
7-1. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, D-line edge at even money is pretty damn good. But to Ryan's point, since they are the back of the first round, they would be probably comfortable trading out.
I think I would bet that they're going to trade out. I think it could be the Browns or the Giants coming.
Also, too, let's not rule out Howie. The Eagles have a shit ton of picks. There's a world where they trade up, honestly, because they have. I'll double check the count, but they have a bunch of extra picks.
Yeah. Anyway,
Matt, any other NFL draft props you want to toss out here as we close things out?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we went over Tyler Warren. I really do like Shedeur minus 250 at second quarterback selected. I know we flirted with the idea of Jackson Dart going there, but I think that's pretty close to a lock for him going second after Cam Ward. And then I really this was a real degen mind spin, but I'm gonna talk it through with you guys.
Came to the right place.
Listen,
go on.
And I was talking about doing $1,000 on each one of these, and maybe we'll drop this down to $100. Yeah. But these numbers are based on 1,000. So I was trying to hedge my bet and say, okay, I want to spread a Shedeur Sanders bet across the picks that I believe he can kind of only land on.
Okay,
right. So like. He's not going number one, right? Because that would pay out $55,000 if he gets picked, right? So let's just say that's not going to happen. Now, 2 and 3 though, if you bet $1,000 on pick 2, you're returning $13K.
It's pretty good.
That's not bad. You do it on pick 3, you're returning $4,500, right? So
also not bad.
Also not bad. So by the way, if you just stick to that and you go, I'm going to put $1,000 on 2 and 3, you're going to be up $2,500. Not bad, right? If he goes there, we're saying pick 4, he's not going to the Patriots,
no,
right? The only way that happens is if the Patriots somehow trade down, right?
Yeah.
Pick 5, also, we're not going to bet on that. Pick 6, that pays out 15-1 too.
Oh,
and
for the Raiders,
right? For the Raiders, and then
Dion really is back channeling that one. Like who knows?
Hoping for
Mark Davis might pick up the phone and make that pick.
Well, and again, you want to talk. We keep saying, Pete Carroll, and he's going to want this. And I said it myself. I thought they'd go cornerback and Tom Brady's involved. But the actual guy pulling the trigger is Mark Davis, who's a crazy MFer. So him going, you know what? Fuck everyone else. Shedeur. And it sends the card in. You could see it.
Holland Oates with a great name for your bet here. Shador
roulette. Okay, that's like fun.
That. Yeah, and listen, like pick 2, pick 3, pick 6. If you put a bet on each one of those picks for Shador to go to those teams, the worst case scenario, if this does hit, is he hits pick 3, and you're paying out 4.5 to 1. So you'd be up 2.5 because you would have had or you'd be up 1.5. Excuse me. So I just really think Shador can go earlier than they're saying he's going. And then, by the way, I could not find the Saints. I believe they're -110. And this kind of, if he goes to the Saints, this ruins my whole play here. But if he goes before, I'm thinking 2, 3, or 6. That's where he's going.
Yeah, I got him to go to the Steelers at 7-1. This was last week or something, just because Mike Tomlin likes him. I could see him being a Steeler. But
so Saints to draft Shador is even money right now.
Yeah.
Right. So, that's not fun. No one wants to do even money.
No,
let's be real here.
Let's go.
So the DGen bet is that he's going 2, 3, or 6.
Ooh, I like this.
The DGen bet is you're putting $100 on pick 2, $100 on pick 3, and $100 on pick 6. The floor of this bet is he hits on pick 3 to the Giants. You win $450, and you've put $300 in. Right. The upside is he goes to either the Browns at 2 or the Raiders at 6, and you're getting a 13 or 15 to 1 payout.
Love it.
I'm a degenerate.
Matt, it was awesome having you on for this episode. And of course, if people don't know already, where can they find Dappz Sports?
Please check us out on TikTok, Dappz Sports, Dappz Sports Breaks. We have 2 channels. We're ripping sports cards almost 24 hours a day on Dappz Sports Breaks on TikTok. You can check us out on our website, dappsports.com. We're actually selling we're selling Nikes and Yeezys and all these different types of shoes on Dappz Kicks right now. We're selling handbags if you like buying Louis Vuitton for your wife. Dappz handbags.
I'll have to let my wife know.
Yeah. Don't let your wives know about that. But listen, search Dappz on TikTok, Dappz Sports on YouTube if you want to really get into the grind of sports cards. We talked about a Cooper Flag sale this week going for $85,000 1 week before he lost in that choke job that Duke did.
Oh man, what a meltdown.
There was an Ohtani card that just broke a record, sold for over $1 million. They took the logo out of his pants from the 50-50 game where he broke the record, and they put it into a card and he signed it. So that's a moment attached to a game, which is really cool, which is what Topps is doing. And then the final thing we talked about on YouTube on Dappz Sports was Paul Skeen's rookie debut patch just sold for $1 million also.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of big sales happening in the sports card market. If you're more interested, please comment on any of our YouTube videos. I promise I'll answer you. And thank you so much for having me on as well.
Yeah, appreciate it. And yeah, we're going to figure out how to do some breaks with Dappz. So if you want to get involved, hit us up over on X at Gambling Podcast. Email us, podcast@sportsgamblingpodcast.com, or hit us up in the Discord and say like, I want to get involved in the breaks.
Sean's DMs are open.
Yeah. Ryan's DMs also open. But yeah, no, it seems like a lot of fun, and just the sweat of seeing what Eagles cards are going to be pulled from the break. I totally
I immediately want to blow by all this bullshit and go right to high stakes.
You know what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a break. We're gonna give away a couple teams to your audience, and what we'll do is you'll have the Eagles, I'll have the Jets, you'll have the Giants, and then we'll give away we'll give away 5 free teams, and the rest everybody can buy in to their team.
Love it.
Oh, that's it. We're here.
We live and dealing, right? We're gonna be doing breaks with Matt.
Now listen, I got a box of cards from back in the day. I'll swing by the office.
My father-in-law got me something from Costco. I got to get. Hold on a second.
You're gonna embarrass yourself again in front of Matt. He's gonna tell you it's not worth anything. You're gonna ruin the mystique of whatever this is.
Okay.
I mean, he can already tell it's not.
Okay, this is actually hysterical. We actually sell these when we have them in stock.
Nice.
So this is a 2024 Don Russ, and believe it or not, we talked about this earlier on the episode. The chase out of here is called a downtown. Right.
Okay.
So you can hit Jaden Daniels, you can hit Caleb Williams, you can hit all the rookie cards. And by the way, I think this is an oversized downtown guaranteed. So you actually have a downtown in here. You should probably open this up and keep it on your table, and that'll be a cool thing.
Let's go.
Hell yeah!
All right.
I'm suddenly more interested.
Maybe we're and if you're
shout out to your father-in-law.
If you're listening to the audio, it's Aaron Rodgers as a jet all over the box. So. Thank you, Matt, for coming on.
Yeah,
check out Dappz Sports. Super fun. And great. Chat was great. Appreciate you guys hopping on, and we'll talk tomorrow, Ryan. CJ, man of the box, more NFL draft props. CJ was bummed that the show we did last time was only like an hour and a half.
I think he felt it was a personal attack.
Yeah, he goes, I thought we were going to do every team. We're going to get to more teams.
How long did he want it to be?
I don't know.
Really long.
90 minutes.
He had a bunch of handwritten notes. So appreciate everyone tuning in as always. And of course,
thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
We're pack breakers now, Sean
Kramer. Let it ride.